Good morning. Welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Cara Falco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. And today is Thursday, July 21st. We're going to tell you about a cold case that's been solved after decades of mystery.
And we've got good news from the pump. Gas prices are down again. Also coming up in the show, the Jersey Shore making waves one more time. We'll tell you the latest town to be recognized by a major magazine as a destination location.
But first, we are checking in on the Jersey heat wave that we are in the midst of with meteorologist Mike Favetta. Good morning to you, Mike. It's already, what, like mid-80s outside?
It is. It's already the mid-80s, and we are likely going to break 100 again. We broke 100 degrees, and not a heat index, actual air temperature at Newark yesterday.
It was brutal yesterday.
Very hot and very humid, and that continues today. Today being the worst of the heat wave, but I think we may see another resurgence of very hot weather come in throughout the end of the weekend. I'll talk more about that coming up with the 7-day forecast. As far as the current temperatures, it is cold. It is rather warm. We start off with 75 degrees in the coolest spots, but going up to a high of 98, even 100 in some of the big cities. Plan on the heat index to be much warmer, even going into the afternoon. There's even a chance of a quick isolated shower. Now, most of the storm threats to the north and west will likely stay to the northwestern counties, up towards Sussex and Flemington, even over, I'd say, later on this afternoon, likely dissipate by the time they reach Newark. However, once we get into the evening hours, there's likely going to be another round of storms that comes through southern New Jersey. They're through Belmar, Camden, even through Atlantic City, that could give you some severe weather into tonight. It's all about that heat and humidity that doesn't even make it feel pleasant out toward the beaches. Look at Seabright's temperature of 91 degrees today. That's after you factor in all of that heat and humidity, making it very warm. And even throughout the afternoon from Belmar, 91 as your high temperature. The sea breeze only is going to take maybe 2 or 3 degrees off that, since the westerly breeze is pretty persistent today, just blowing that hot air onto the sand like a blowtorch. We've got more details on when the heat wave ends coming up. We'll show you some more of that and detail the weekend weather in just a few minutes. Cara, Kristina?
It's not just the sand that's the blowtorch. I feel like anytime you step outside, it's
just like, just it hits you.
It hits you in the face. All right, Mike, thanks so much.
All right, and Don Smith is here with a look at the roads and the rails. Don, is the heat impacting the commute at all?
Well, Cara, good morning to you. Good morning, Kristina. Good morning, Mike. I always give the advisory for, NJ Transit Path anytime you're on trains, because, the signals really don't like to play nicely. They're basically, most of the system is computerized. So it's basically like leaving a cell phone out in the middle of 100+ degree heat. We're starting with NJ Transit, and this is for another issue. The Hudson Bergen Light Rail has been suspended both ways all morning long between Harborside and Newport because of pedestrian strike. Unfortunately, hopefully that individual is okay, but that's an investigation that's still ongoing. So substitute buses are now being provided. So it's been that way again all morning long. We've had a couple of canceled trains because of mechanical issues on the corridor, as well as the Morrison-Essex line. Same thing with the Coast line. So again, pad your travel time, I think, on transit by a good 15 to maybe even a half an hour, just on the chance that something crops up later on this afternoon when the temperatures really start to soar, although we're like into the lower 80s, almost mid 80s already at almost 9:05 in the morning. But also be careful, on the platform, stay well hydrated. Again, that just goes for anywhere, but some of those train platforms from the train stations could be awfully warm. Riverline still 15 minutes because of a broken down train in Pennsauken. Now let's go to the roads. We've had this ongoing issue here in Newark. This is north on 19. It's the local side of 19 there in Newark, getting up to truck routes 1 and 9 in the Skyway. Let me show you the camera here this morning. And it's been out there for well over at least an hour and a half or so. And you can see the one vehicle is now on the flatbed here this morning. Again, this is the local side northbound just before you come up to the Skyway. But this has traffic, as you can see, almost all the way back to 78. So eastbound on the Bay extension is picking up a lot of that alternate volume getting to the Holland. So definitely want to give yourself some additional travel time. Let's widen up the scope of the maps here this morning. And westbound 24 is a real problem now because there is road work out by the mall at Short Hills, just west of Kennedy Parkway. That's where you lose the lane, and now you're losing a second lane because that left lane is shut with construction until about 2:30. So our delays get all the way back through Summit and Springfield. That's running about 15 to 20, so be careful coming off of 78. Parkway, fairly busy as you get up in towards 280 across the Stickle Drawbridge is heavy. North Jersey, 208 south into Maple Avenue, we're still fairly heavy as well. And then west on 80 and the Patterson area is pretty busy. Same thing on 80 getting out towards Parsippany. So 24 is the place to avoid if you can. But, 80, if you're heading out early to the Poconos, looks good. 78. 287 still a little backed up both ways getting it at exit 13. Parkway is fine. And a quick check here. We'll go into more of a deeper dive in our next report for the shore areas. The Parkway looks good. So does 295, 195, all the way down to the Atlantic City Expressway and exit 0 is looking good. The only uptick in traffic I'm seeing, and we saw this yesterday actually as well, is this ongoing eastbound push on a 138 coming off the Parkway. I think it's just people heading out to Belmar, Spring Lake, all looking to beat the heat at the shore. That's it from here in a busy traffic center. Cara, Kristina, send it back into you.
Well, this first story has the murder mystery lover in all of us really thrilled.
Yeah, so 40 years ago, the body of a teenage girl was found in a Blairstown cemetery, and no one could figure out who she was or who had killed her.
Yeah, well, this past week, officials announced that they had answered both of those questions. The body was that of 17-year-old Dawn Olenek of Long Island, and Arthur Kinlaw has now been charged with her murder.
So apparently, Kinlaw had actually confessed to the killing back in 2005, but since they couldn't confirm the ID of the body, they couldn't formally charge him. So Acting Attorney General Matt Platkin said this week, advances in forensic science are what allowed them to finally ID the body and close this cold case.
It's amazing how far we've come in technology that they can actually finally put to rest some of these old cold cases.
Yes.
This is not the first one that has been solved because of the technology that they've developed. And I feel like this should be a movie.
Really, John, I have chills.
I know.
It's just, 40 years. And it was such a weird, it's one thing when they find a body and they know who the victim is and you can't, but just to imagine, her family and be like, she's just been missing,
yes.
for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And to finally be like, okay, this is what, it's terrible, but at least we know what happened.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's such a long time, so finally they get some answers.
Yeah, but again, science is always cool and amazing.
Amazing, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this story too. So schools in Patterson are going to be installing confidence closets.
What's a confidence closet, right? Well, it's a place where students can discreetly access toiletries, and it's all free, and it's stuff that their families might not be able to afford. 33 schools will be getting these closets, and 50 churches are also partnering with the district to help with these donations.
And then another 8 schools will also be getting washers and dryers on premise so students can launder their clothes for free as well. I love this.
Yes.
It's just so important. And, sometimes I think we don't even realize because we're so blessed and lucky. There are, these kids need a place to come and brush their teeth in the morning and wash their face, and they may not have access to it.
A lot of that time, school is their sanctuary.
Yes.
School is the place to escape what's going on at home, and a lot of the time, like you said, they don't have access to common things that we take for granted sometimes.
Absolutely.
So I mean, and Principal Akbar in Patterson, I believe it was,
yes.
He was just amazing and starting off sort of, I don't want to say trend, but sort of bringing this to the forefront and getting those washer and dryers for his school district. He appeared on Ellen DeGeneres and sort of this snowball effect.
Yeah,
now.
just kind of bringing that to the, and the kids perform better in school.
Yes.
That's they feel comfortable and confident in themselves, and it's like, all right, now I can sit in class and not worry about these other weird things.
It's amazing, yeah. So such a great program, and hopefully we'll see that roll out in more schools too.
Absolutely.
Across the state here. So, we talk all things Jersey here, right, on the New Jersey Morning Show, and so does our first guest today.
Journalist and now author Jen Maxfield has been reporting on the Garden State for the last 20 years, and now she's revisiting some of the stories that have been most impactful to her in her new book. More after the break, a reporter returns to 10 unforgettable news stories.
Please welcome, we're so excited, Jen Maxfield to the show. Good morning to you, Jen.
Good morning, Cara. Good morning, Kristina.
We're all longtime. Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. We're all longtime journalists here, as well as Jersey girls. When did you know you wanted to work in news?
Oh, well, I was actually pre-med in college, and then I had the opportunity to do an internship at CNN at the United Nations, and I loved it. I always wrote for the school newspaper, but I really loved the pace of working in TV news. And so then after grad school, I started in Binghamton, New York. Then I worked for News Channel 9 in Syracuse, New York. And like you said, the last 2 decades, primarily reporting on New Jersey for ABC and NBC in New York.
Absolutely incredible. So Jen, I don't know if I get this question a lot, especially these days, not sure if you do, but people really feel that they can no longer trust the media. They often ask, what would I consider a trustworthy news source, or how would I find good information? What would you recommend to someone who feels that modern journalism is just completely swayed at this point?
Well, I would just push back on initially just the premise of that whole argument. I mean, look, I've been in local news for the last 2 decades. And I know you two have been in the industry for a long time as well. And I can't think of anything more real and more trustworthy than going up to somebody's front door or approaching someone at a breaking news scene and speaking with them and trying to get their perspective and trying to give the viewers a full 360 view of exactly what went on. And look, you both know we've got these really tight deadlines. We're trying to get stories on the air the same day at 4 or 5 o'clock. We don't have that much time to spend with the people who are interviewing. And what was so wonderful about writing this book was that I had the time to go back without that pressure of a deadline to find out what does happen after the live truck pulls away or after people's names fade from the headlines.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these stories sometimes stay with you too. You bring them home. What inspired you to go from writing scripts to writing a book, and also during the pandemic?
So I think I had some time to think and reflect, like many of us did during the pandemic. But in addition to working for NBC in New York, I also teach at Columbia Journalism School, and I credit my grad students for really asking some incisive questions and some really good questions about the sorts of things that I do at work and how I put the stories together. And I think the combination of the time during COVID and these great questions I've been getting for years from my students at Columbia prompted me to want to go back to stories where I was still thinking about the families. And even if it was years or in some cases decades after I'd spoken with them, they were still in my heart. And I had a genuine curiosity about what happened to the people at the center of these stories. And I figured that if I was still interested, if I was still curious, I really believe that readers would be too.
So Jen, on top of your own curiosity, you pulled 10 impactful stories for the book. What were some of your other criteria to pull these stories and why you included them?
It was hard to narrow it down because I estimate that over the last 22 years, I've interviewed 10,000 people.
Wow.
So to narrow that down to 10 was really challenging. And I first just wrote from the heart and the families who I was still thinking about, even some stories I was still dreaming about, to give you a sense of how it was really lodged in my subconscious. And each of the stories is very different. The subjects of each story are different. And but I think that the key theme that runs through all of them is the triumph of the human spirit and how people have so much resilience and how they can provide hope for all of us. Because look, the people I interview on the news, they're not celebrities. They didn't ask to be in the spotlight. They were thrust into the news due to circumstances beyond their control. And so I was interested in speaking from them and really learning from them about how do you move forward after experiencing a tragedy in many cases.
You've literally covered almost every big story in the tri-state area during your tenure. And this question is kind of like asking who is your favorite kid.
Yeah.
But which one do you think has had the biggest impact on you personally?
You're right. I can't choose one story. I would say that all 10 of them. And look, like you said, I wrote the book during COVID, and that was a scary time and an uncertain time for all of us. And to be speaking with these families who had already experienced some of the worst of what life had to offer and listening to them talk about being happy again or finding meaning or purpose again or healing after a major injury, it really was very inspiring. And I hope that when people read the book, they take away a real feeling of optimism and admiration for these people who are survivors.
Absolutely love that, Jen. Really fast, I'm just going to kind of adjust the last question one more time. Is there anything that, or anyone that you spoke to that you then, especially in following up with them, from this book, that you then implemented into your own life? Like, oh, this person started meditating or started anything that you kind of looked at and said, wow, you know what, that really resonates for me. I'm going to implement that for myself.
Sure. So I'm going to give everyone something to think about on this Thursday morning, okay?
Yes.
So chapter 4 profiles a woman named Isabella Della Husse. She found out that she had stage 4 lung cancer. This is a woman who never smoked, was a marathon runner. She's in her early 50s and she's got 6 months to live, according to the doctors. Oof. Now, you can go read the book and find out about all the twists and turns in her story, but she had a mantra that she shared with me, and I think about it a lot. She says, hope, I'm going to paraphrase, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she said, hope is something that pertains to something in the future. And you need to be thinking about the future to have the hope. But joy is something that comes in the present. And you can find joy everywhere, every day. And it's something you can feel right now. And I just thought that was so beautiful. And especially coming from a woman who doesn't take any days for granted. I just think that's a great thing to head out into the world with on this Thursday morning.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
I want to find out now what happened.
I know, right?
The story. I need to find out.
Read my book.
Where can we find it?
Yeah.
Sure. So the book is available. I'm on a book tour now, heading to multiple stops around the tri-state area and also nationwide. You can go to my website, which is jenmaxfield.com, and there are links to buy it online or visit your local independent bookstore. And you can find it at the major chains too.
Can't wait to read it. Awesome. Just awesome. Congratulations.
Yes, absolutely. Jen Maxfield, the book is more after the break. A reporter returns to 10 unforgettable news stories. Thank you so much for your time and your insight this morning. We were so excited to talk to you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me and have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Oh, she was great.
I know.
And I love that little bit. Joy in every moment. Yes, exactly. All right, guys, coming up, have you noticed it hurt a little less at the pump this week?
Yeah.
We've got the latest numbers from AAA on gas prices.
A little relief. And as many as 25% of women deal with uterine fibroids. We're talking about a less invasive procedure to treat them.
And don't forget, you can follow along on social media. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at NJ Morning Show. Ask questions, join the conversation, and check out behind-the-scenes photos.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
The American Lung Association invites you to join us outside in 2021 for our Fight for Air Climb events. Now more than ever, we need you in the fight for clean air and healthy lungs. Let's go outside and climb, because every step counts. Visit us at lung.org.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show.
Meteorologist Mike Favetta is here with a look at our hot and steamy forecast. Just our favorite time of year to introduce meteorologists.
Yeah, it's a hot day. It's warm. It's just gross outside. You can't really find any place to cool down. Yeah,
Mike,
typically,
gross is the meteorological term, correct?
Gross is a very technical term. Yeah, absolutely.
It's 2 words, actually.
Exam.
It's gross.
Gross.
Yes.
Gross. Because we started off this morning very warm and humid. Some places never even dipped down into the low 80s with the heat index. That's how warm and sticky it was. And yet going into this afternoon, with all of that sunshine, it will feel quite warm and quite humid here across New Jersey. So there is some danger to this heat wave. And we'll talk more about the heat safety in just a sec. as we go into next week. Likely see this last in through the next several days. It officially became a heat wave yesterday with our third day of 90 degrees in a row, but yesterday hit 100 in Newark, and we could likely see 100 again today with a higher heat index. There could be a few scattered thunderstorms later on this weekend, but with all of the very warm weather going ahead into the next few days, yes, there's even the potential for a few scattered storms. The air quality index for today, this is a range of 0 to 500, and whenever it's around 100, that's where it starts to be concerning, with air quality remaining poor through the afternoon. So with all of this all of this humidity and all of the pollutants in the air kind of sticking around, it makes it very uncomfortable for those, especially if you plan to be out and about. Given the fact that there is quite a bit of humidity around today. I did want to show you, I thought I redid that. There we go, the heat safety graphic. This is from the Weather Service, and it's in combination with the health departments, showing you that if you're outside today and maybe you feel faint or you feel dizzy, take it easy, because with the signs of heat stroke, meaning that they could start to see the exhaustion in orange and could become heat stroke shown in red on the right side of the graphic, heat stroke is technically an emergency warranting a call to 911, because when your body overheats and in a day like today, trying to stay cool is so difficult, you could put yourself at risk. So some of these signs here, such as a throbbing headache where you start to feel nauseous, or maybe you have a rapid strong pulse, it means that it's time to seek shade and cool yourself down. This heat does not go get any better in the next several days. In fact, right through the middle of next week, we will have highs up around 90 degrees, and that's a problem, especially with this weekend's weather starting off in the upper 90s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And look at Sunday's high. We'll likely see those temperatures once more up around 100 degrees. Sunday may have another boost of highs that could bring our temperatures just as warm as they are today, if not a little bit warmer. And a big part of that is because it doesn't really cool down at night. Overnight lows will hold in the upper 70s. That's a problem, keeping things very warm going into next week. We'll talk more about the next few days, let you know if there's some cooler weather on the 7-day. Those details coming up. Cara, Kristina, in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike, it's a beach weekend for sure. Thank you very much, my friend.
You bet.
I have no doubt people are probably already headed down the beach or the shore. Let's get a check with your traffic. Don Smith, what's going on, man? Are a lot of people on the roads already?
Yeah, it's moderately busy. We're in kind of that middle, obviously, July time frame in the summer. Let's get you over to the maps, because I want to give you the update. This just came in as Mike was doing weather. If you were with us about 15 minutes ago, we had the Hudson Bergen light rail service now resuming here Harborside out to Newport and Jersey City. Up to 20-minute delays there. There was an earlier investigation that has now been wrapped up, so hopefully that individual is fine. But that is now with the 20-minute delays there in either direction. Now, with this hot weather, before we get to the road to the shore, I always say give yourself, kind of pad yourself 15 to a half an hour here across transit, because, those computer signals, mechanical issues, as the temperatures really start to cook, you can only imagine what the temperatures on the rails have to be itself, well into triple digits, no question about that. So we could see some issues start to pop up. This is another issue on the AC rail line. Arrival in the AC is currently delayed in Absecon for police activity. We had some canceled trains here on the Morris Essex corridor and coastline, all for mechanical issues. The river line here also is now back on or close to schedule from an earlier broken down train in Pennsauken. Let's go to the maps. We'll talk to you about our beach communities, or shorter communities, really. Wildwood, Cape May, Avalon, Stone Harbor. Again, just a great day to get out to the beaches to really beat the heat. Ocean City, Atlantic City, AC Expressway, all in good shape here. 55 is a little crowded, getting up into the 42 interchange, but you still can even catch a break on what is volume-wise fairly light here on a Thursday. Parkway through Toms River, Long Beach Island is good. Let's just show you the approaches here on Long Beach Island. Martin Truex Boulevard going east of the Parkway, Route 9. We're fine out to Surf City. There's really not a whole lot of action. Same thing here along 37, getting out towards Seaside Heights. Through Lavalette, 35, maybe a little bit busy. folks trying to find parking. A little busy on Route 9 in Lakewood, but when is that never an issue? Same thing in Bayhead on 35. Also on 138, we've kind of eased out. I think there's those early beachgoers that come in out from the Wall Township area, Howell, Freehold, all making their way out through Spring Lake and Belmar, connecting with 71 and 35, because it was fairly busy here along eastbound 138 getting out to Route 18. Butcher Parkway through Monmouth County, 18 is good, 35, 36 are rolling along fairly nicely as well, although I'm starting to pick up some delays here on 35 coming up into the interchange with 36, so just be mindful of that. Maybe something broken down vehicle or something, but nothing reported by DOT as of yet. 78 is good. We have that midday road work to watch out for out through interchange 7 in Bloomsbury. That's there until about 3 o'clock. Also more midday road work really messing the ride up here is on Route 24. So let's kind of unpack this. It's going just as you go west of the mall at Short Hills and Kennedy Parkway. It goes from 3 lanes to 2, and those 2 lanes now go to 1. So it is as you get up into the Madison area. Again, this is really the no exit zone here from 124 to Kennedy Parkway out to Florham Park and Columbia Turnpike. So it's right in here. They're doing that road work, and we're looking at a good 15 to 20 minute backup as you come out of Springfield and also out of the Summit area. Also westbound on 280, we have some more road work here. This is as we get out towards about Eisenhower Parkway or so. Look for that. But 80 is moving fine. And then there is that northbound 208. Mess with the road work as you get in towards Maple Avenue. Again, we've seen this over the last couple of weeks. That continues to still be with us. Our Hudson River crossings are under about 15 minutes. That's what's happening again here in a busy traffic center. Cara, Kristina, send it back over to you.
All right, Don, always busy. Thanks so much. Now, with all this heat and humidity, ACs, of course, and refrigerators are working overtime to keep us cool, comfortable, and safe.
And that means the electrical grid is also working overtime. JCP&L shared some tips for all of us to help keep ourselves and our neighbors cool and comfy.
Yeah, they say set your thermostat to the highest temperature that you're comfortable at. For every 1 degree, though, the higher you go, you decrease your energy use by about 3%.
And you know, these kitchen tips are some of my favorite. Don't cook. Either use the grill outside, eat raw or cold food so the oven and the stove don't heat up the house.
Good for me.
And you can keep your fridge and freezer stocked. The more cold stuff that's already in there, the colder it will stay, even if the power goes out.
I love that. You can also do simple things like close your doors to rooms you're not using, use fans, check your filters, make sure you turn off the lights and the appliances when you're not using them. So don't bake brownies right now, is what you're saying.
No, it's not the time to do any baked goods. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like salads,
ice cream,
cold noodles, ice cream, sure.
Sorry, I go right to the
She went right for the ice cream. It's a girl after my own heart, honestly.
I love it, though. All good tips. And also conserve your water use when you're outside. They're saying 7 counties from, I think it was American Water, saying to reduce their water usage outside. So you might have to skip that watering of the lawn.
Yeah, the grass is going to have to take it.
Brown and
so it's gonna be right. But what are the tomatoes?
Yes, and the basil.
And the basil. Make sure we have those. Hey, listen, have you noticed it's actually been slightly less painful at the pump lately?
Yeah, it's because gas prices went down another 15 cents this week. That's according to AAA. They say the steady decline is from a combination of less demand, despite it being the summer or driving season, and lower prices for oil.
So as you can see, New Jersey falls right in the middle with average prices between $4.41 and $4.57 a gallon. I stopped looking weeks ago. I was like, I need the gas. The price is what the price is. I'm not driving around looking for a price.
Yeah, near me. I mean, I don't do that either.
Even though, I can't.
I was like, I don't have time for that. But the gas station near my house, it went down to $4.53, and I thought I hit the jackpot. I was like, yes, because it was so close to $5, and I think at one point hit $5.
Yeah, certain spots did.
And so now it's like, oh, it's so cheap.
Yeah,
at $4.50.
Yeah, it's weird how like your perception of the whole thing changed. You're like, yeah, it's a steal. And you're like, oh, hang on a second, it's still like $2 too high.
But every little bit counts, so
Absolutely.
we'll take it for now.
For sure.
Our next guest has good news for anyone who's been suffering from uterine fibroids.
So July happens to be Fibroid Awareness Month. According to the National Institute of Health, about 20 to 25% of women of reproductive age have fibroids. That number jumps to 70% by the age of 50 and as high as 80% for women of color over the age of 50.
So here to tell us about an alternate treatment and their renowned specialists are based right here in New Jersey. Please welcome Dr. John Runback to the show. Good morning to you, doctor.
Good morning, Cara. Good morning, Kristina. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, thanks for being here. Tell us, what are some of the symptoms of fibroids that women should be looking out for?
Sure. Well, as you already noted, fibroids are extraordinarily common. They're benign growths of the muscle layer of the uterus. So, if they're asymptomatic, really nothing needs to be done. They're fed by estrogen, and as women approach menopause, naturally that estrogen production goes down and the fibroids get better. However, for many women suffering with fibroids, they can have symptoms that can be really disabling, very debilitating. And this includes very, very heavy periods, actually even spotting throughout the month, as well as periods that can be prolonged, often associated with so much bleeding that patients are told that they're anemic or need iron or blood transfusion. And then the other side, fibroids tend to be multiple, and even though they're benign, they can be rather large and push on adjacent things and cause symptoms such as urinary frequency or urgency, discomfort during sexual activity, low back pain, constipation, pain, and bloating. So this is not a trivial matter if you're suffering from fibroids.
Doctor, is there anything that can be done preventatively about fibroids? Is there a way to not have that happen in the first place?
Yeah, wouldn't that be great, right? Unfortunately, fibroids, like many things, are hereditary to large degrees. So there's not a whole lot that can be done. Certainly there are homeopathic, remedies once they're identified, but these are not really all that effective in preventing the fibroids in the first place. And just one of these things that if you have and you're symptomatic, then you need to address. You need to treat like any other medical condition.
Yeah. So what is the typical treatment for fibroids?
Right. Well, historically, for women who had fibroids through the years, treatment was one of two major surgical procedures, either hysterectomy, certainly for women who are approaching menopause, which I don't need to tell you is a very invasive procedure, and obviously, from a psychological point of view, sort of giving up your uterus and potentially ovaries can, really be problematic. Or myomectomy, which is a surgical procedure where just the fibroids themselves are physically cut out and removed in the operating theater. The problem with myomectomy is it's still a surgical procedure, a lot of associated blood loss, a lot of potential complications, and very high rates of recurrence. You can't remove the entirety of the fibroid, so they tend to grow back, and it's a temporary solution. Obviously, over the last really 20 years now, we developed better minimally invasive solutions for many women who are appropriate for this that can prevent surgery, provide a nice alternative, and as we say, fewer complications, shorter recovery, and less discomfort.
So, doctor, can you explain to us in a little bit more detail what is different than about the procedure that you do? So it's not a full hysterectomy. We're not going in, cutting in, and removing the fibroids. So how is it that you guys treat them?
Sure. So the procedure that we do here at American Fibroid Centers and obviously elsewhere in the country is something called uterine fibroid embolization. So to give you some context, embolization is the medical word for blocking blood supply. Fibroids have a very rich blood supply, which is why they cause heavy bleeding, and we're blocking the blood supply in the fibroids in the uterus, so uterine fibroid embolization. And this is a minimally invasive, outpatient, non-surgical procedure. Essentially what we do is we thread a tiny little catheter. Imagine a piece of spaghetti with a hole down the middle, which is threaded from the artery, generally from the right hip, sometimes from the wrist, into the arteries supplying the fibroids, where we then are able to very selectively and very precisely block the blood supply to the fibroids. So one, they no longer bleed, and two, they no longer get the estrogen that fuels them, so they shrink and they die. The procedure takes 20 to 40 minutes. Patients go home a few hours later. They're back to work in several days, and that's obviously a much better solution than major surgery.
Technology, like we said, technology.
We've been talking tech all day. It's amazing.
Who would be a good candidate for this procedure?
Yeah, so interestingly, if you look at, how many patients undergo hysterectomy compared to uterine fibroid embolization, the number is greater than 30 to 1. I think there's an awareness problem there, which obviously here at American Fibroid Centers around the country, we're working hard to overcome. Actually, about 80% of women are good candidates for uterine fibroid embolization. You just need to see a specialist who performs these sort of procedures. Often you need an MRI to make sure that you're a good candidate. And the main reason is make completely certain there's nothing else going on which might require surgery anyway before you do a minimally invasive procedure. An MRI just gives us those high quality pictures. Sometimes women will need an endometrial biopsy if they're over the age of 40. But apart from that, there's not a whole lot of evaluation and preparation. If the MRI shows that you have fibroids and a suitable distribution, you can be a very good candidate for this minimally invasive procedure.
That is incredible. So, doctor, where can folks learn more about you, the Vascular Center, and uterine fibroid embolization? We've been practicing this word all morning.
Right. Embolization. There you go. Yes. So, I'm located at American Fibroid Centers. This particular center we have is in West Orange. We have other locations also around the state and in New York. The website is www.fibroidexperts.com. So that's relatively straightforward. Or you could just call us at 1-833-UFE-EXPERT. So that's a very easy way to reach us, and that would allow you to sort of get into the system and arrange a consultation with a physician.
Dr. John Runbeck, thank you so much for your time and your insight and information this morning. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you, guys. You're absolutely amazing. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too.
Well, coming up, we'll tell you which Jersey Shore town was named one of USA Today's 10 best small coastal towns.
Plus, we're taking it way back, like to the Cretaceous period. No, seriously, you can see life-size moving dinosaurs right here in New Jersey. We'll tell you all about it after the break.
Hey, and don't forget, you can check us out on social media. You can watch full episodes and catch and share clips of your favorite guests. Just look for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And don't forget to click follow.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We are school teachers. We are leaders in business.
It's me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
The American Lung Association invites you to join us outside in 2021 for our Fight for Air Climb events. Now more than ever, we need you in the fight for clean air and healthy lungs. Let's go outside and climb, because every step counts. Visit us at lung.org.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show.
Meteorologist Mike Favetta has another look at the gross weather and if and when this heat wave will finally break. Please say soon, Mike.
I think we have a few more days, and it kind of gets worse before it gets better. So I know, not exactly the answer you were hoping for, but it's going to be a really sticky scenario through the weekend. Very hot, very humid, and it's also a problem because we're not cooling down at night. So if the temperature starts off very warm, later on in the morning, it only climbs higher from there. And that's what makes things like, what makes summer great in New Jersey, like the beaches, hard to stay cool, at least before the sea breeze kicks in. Most of the morning is going to be stifling hot on the sand, just like it would be in a big parking lot, very, very warm throughout the afternoon because you don't get that nice cool breeze off of a 77-degree ocean water. Also, nice summertime thing to do, outdoor dining. Our forecast today has incredible heat and humidity through this afternoon. You'd probably want to keep it in the AC today. Look at some of these temperatures around New Jersey, from Morristown to Hoboken, even Princeton, very warm there, from Long Branch, all in the mid-90s. It's nice to go out to, say, like a clam bar or, get some food on the boardwalk through Atlantic City and Cape May. However, even there, the upper 80s, not something you'd expect given how warm it is today. How about the 7-day forecast? We have some very warm weather on tap for the next several days, and look how it peaks again on Sunday with that high temperature up around 98 degrees, incredibly warm through the next several days. And even though the storm chances are low, we could see a few isolated storms each day, specifically south of 195, but by Monday, that's our good opportunity to see a big storm that'll whoosh on through and give us a little bit of cooler weather by Tuesday. So I think we see some relief in the next several days, but it doesn't happen until Monday of next week. So we're with this heat at least for the next 5 days. By Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, it's not all like a big relief. It'll just be a tiny relief with Tuesday and Wednesday's highs still climbing into the upper 80s. So the dog days of summer certainly upon us and sticking around here in New Jersey, making it feel very warm and very humid. Could see a few records fall, not only for the afternoon highs, but also the overnight lows, because it never has been this warm in recorded history overnight, which is a new record that it seems to be becoming the trend that we're keeping tabs on here. And meteorologists all across the country are pretty impressed of how hot it's been getting, not only locally, but if you've heard internationally, they're having a big heat wave too over in Europe.
Yeah. They're not dealing with it well over there either.
Not a record we want to be setting there.
Yeah,
Nope.
exactly.
Nope.
I don't know, Mike, you talked about those clam bars down the shore, and I was like, they're going to be steamed clams by the time they get to you. There is no raw bar this week.
No.
Nope. Cancel it. Thank you, Mike.
All right, and Don Smith is here. He's got a look at the ride. Hey, good morning, Don.
Yeah, good morning, Cara. Good morning, Kristina. Good morning, Mikey. Yeah, we're in the salmon or mango, maybe for the ice cream, right? A little peach mango sorbet would go really well on a day like today. Let's get over our graphic system here this morning. I'm showing you a live picture on the eastbound side of 78 out in Hunterdon County. This is coming up Jugtown Mountain, getting between exits 7 through 11. You see the right lane is shut, and it's a fairly slow ride back to Bloomsbury, so just be mindful of that. And this is the time of the day where we see all this midday road work cropping up pretty much all over the place. There is the delay. Again, we're back towards the rest area, if you're familiar with this section between right on the western fringes of Hunterdon and eastern sections of Warren County. So be careful here. Maybe you want to stay with 173. Take a couple of minutes off your ride, but again, it's a single lane country road coming through Bloomsbury. So again, just be mindful of that. But after that, through Clinton and Lebanon, the traffic is rolling along just fine. We also have some problems now along 287. This is getting in towards Morristown by exit 35, 36 with some construction. And we're almost back to the Harding rest area, just north of that, about a 10 to 15 minute backup there. And then west on 24 is really busy getting west past the Mall at Short Hills with construction. Mike had said that he would come through this all the time in his teaching days over at Kane University. It's the power lines. They're doing a lot of work on that, and they put the crane in the one lane there, which reduces the 24 down to just one lane. So that westbound side is about a 10 or 15 minute backup. So if you're heading out to the mall, I think you're fine. It's just as you get west of that, where you lose the lane as you come in through the no exit zone there between that and Columbia Turnpike and Florham Park is a difficult ride. Also, another difficult ride going west along 280 now is really heavy out through Eisenhower Parkway into exit 1, and that's for more construction out of Livingston through East Hanover as you approach on in towards the Parsippany Troy Hills area. So again, midday road work is in earnest, and I feel for the crews having to work in almost 100+ degree temperatures. North along 208 is busy into Maple Avenue with construction. East on Route 4 is busy out towards Bell Avenue, in towards Queen Anne Road, I should say, in that area in Teaneck, with more construction to contend with. The Turnpike is fine, but now the Parkway has gone downhill as well as we come up in towards Route 280 with a crash here in Irvington by 144. So look how far back that delay gets as we extend back to exit 142. Again, the Turnpike is moving fine. Parkway through Middlesex County, 287 is good. Let's head down the shore, right? That's where everyone wants to head with all this hot weather. 36 getting out to Sandy Hook. I imagine the parking lots there are probably going to get quite full very, very shortly, but through Seabright is moving fine. Long Branch up at the Monmouth Mall is a little bit busy on 36. Again, 18, Marlboro, Route 9. Parkway is great from the Arts Center, straight on down to exit 98. A little crowding here at times along 71 and 35 out through Belmar and Spring Lake, to be expected. Obviously, everyone's looking to beat the heat. 35, a little busy here in Bayhead, but the Parkway through Brick, Toms River is good, and then Lavalette is fairly crowded as well, just north of Seaside Heights. As we continue on down through, let's check out Long Beach Island for you. The approach along Route 72 is good. Even Long Beach Boulevard, again, is a little bit slow at times, but, certainly that's to be expected as everyone's heading out. No mini golf today, or later on maybe, but you want to get to the beach here. 55, a little busy at 42. But even as you get out through Atlantic City, Ocean City, the Parkway, very quiet getting out to exit 0. Let's give you the update on transit. We're still dealing with about 20-minute delays here from an earlier investigation on the Hudson Bergen Light Rail between Harborside and Newport. So it looks like the buses are discontinued there. Hudson River crossings are maybe about 10 minutes, but anytime these temperatures really soar like this, definitely leave pad the travel time on transit by, I'd say, maybe 15 to 30 minutes in case you see some signal issues. And that's happening here in the home traffic studio. Cara, Kristina, I'll send it back over to you.
Thank you, Don. All right, guys, check this one out. I kind of like this story. So a woman in California is suing Mars Inc., which is based here in Jersey, because she says Skittles contain a known toxin and are, and I quote, not safe for human consumption.
Well, her lawsuit says the candy contains unsafe levels of titanium dioxide, which is used to make the colorful candy shells. Well, now Mars has said that they plan to phase out the titanium dioxide, but they're currently still using it within FDA regulations.
So the company would not comment on the lawsuit, and the damages that the woman is seeking won't be revealed until this goes to court specifically. So, but I did look it up. So actually the EU recently just banned titanium dioxide altogether.
In their candy and all of that.
In all foods. But they have much stricter bans on both their foods, their cosmetics, than we. I mean, it's like in the thousands of chemicals.
But also, when you think about it, how do you think they got that lime color on the Skittles?
Well, listen, no one's eating a Skittle thinking that this is a good for me thing.
It's not fruit.
No,
It's
there's
not,
there's nothing about that that contains actual food.
Right.
No part of it.
It just gets stuck in your teeth.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
Ugh.
So I'm like a little.
She might have a case here, though.
She might have a case here. I do think she has a valid point because she's suing for basically false advertising.
Right. Yeah.
But
so we'll see. TBD. Well, it'll be interesting to see how much money she gets from it.
Yeah.
And all of us will be kicking ourselves.
Exactly.
Well, whatever snack you pack, you may want to head down to Cape May if you haven't yet.
Yeah, that's because USA Today just named them among the top 10 best small coastal towns to visit. Each town on the list has a population of under 25,000 people.
I believe it. Editors say people have been vacationing in Cape May since the idea of a vacation has been around. Because the town was settled when New Jersey was just a colony, its rich history is another draw.
And of course, they noted the town's family-friendly vibe. I love Cape. It's so beautiful there.
You know, I haven't gone. I gotta go down. We went when I was like little, like 7 or 8 years old. I haven't brought the kids yet.
See, I never discovered Cape May till I was an adult. It was just too far from where we live in northern Morris County to go all the way down to Cape May. It just was too long of a trip, especially as little kids. So I never went until I was a working adult and I actually had to be there for work. And I was like, why have I never been here before?
This exists
This is
in
beautiful.
Jersey? Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, you know, you think of the 2-3 hour ride and you're like, well, I could stop in Point Pleasant on the way instead, or Long Beach Island. But yeah, it's definitely worth a trip for sure.
It just has that colonial architecture. The history of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful town. So if you haven't been, like us, go. Hey, listen, speaking of Jersey history, let's take a little trip back in time.
These guys have survived mass extinction, relocation, weather, fire, and a global pandemic, and now they're back and celebrating their 10-year in history or operation.
Please welcome Park Director of Field Station Dinosaurs, Guy Gazelle, to the show. Good morning, Guy.
Hi, you guys.
Hey, Guy, listen, so for anyone who's unfamiliar with Field Station, can you tell us a little bit about the park?
Well, we're two things. One, we're like going to the zoo, but instead of zoo animals, you have life-size animatronic dinosaurs. They're moving, they're roaring, they're breathing. And then we also are a live entertainment venue. We do over 30 live shows, games, and activities every day. We take a kid's passion and love of dinosaurs and we flip it around and we turn that into a love and passion for lifelong learning.
It's fantastic. I've been several times with my little guys, and as an adult, you are in awe of just the size of these things that you built to scale and how just really cool the whole experience is. You guys are in your 10th season this year. What are some of the special events and attractions that people can look for?
So this year we have a new member of the Field Station family. It's called the Toddlersaurus Rex. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It's the youngest little toddler dinosaur. And he's in a show called the Toddlersaurus Surprise Party. So the guest of honor is the mighty T-Rex. But everybody's favorite is our new dancing, a little bit disobedient toddler T-Rex. It's a great new show. And we have special guests all year long. And we're going to be going back in time, visiting some of the highlights from our 10-year history and bringing them back, including our dinosaur troubadour, the guitar-playing paleontologist, who's here every Saturday and Sunday.
I love it. I love the whole toddler. So I feel like anybody who has a toddler knows that Toddlersaurus is probably the appropriate name.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Hey, Guy, so how did the park and the dinosaurs survive this pandemic these last few years?
You know, I understand now why it took a meteor to kill the dinosaurs, because these guys are resilient. We've had floods, we've had fires, we've had the pandemic, and yet here they are still roaring, which is just great. It shows a lot about the support that we got from Bergen County, who came in as our education partner and really helped us navigate that very hard time. And also, we got a very great grant, which a lot of theaters got, music promoters and movie theaters, which was the Shuttered Venue Operator Grant from the SBA. So, like so many people, we had a lot of help, and it's just because people value what we're doing here, and they want to make sure that we're able to keep doing it.
I see the Triceratops behind you getting a nice meal, so we're glad Triceratops is there, as well as the other dinosaurs. It's there I learned about the Jersey dinosaur. So much great information. Guy, where can we find out more information about Field Station dinosaurs and get tickets?
So the best place is jerseydinos.com. You can get all of our information. You can see a list of all the shows that we have. You can even link to some videos to get a real sense about what your adventure would be like when you come. And you can buy tickets. So it's jerseydinos.com.
It's just so much fun. Guy Gazelle, Park Director for Field Station Dinosaurs. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. The child in me. So can I borrow the boys to take them?
Yeah, you can borrow. They would be more than happy to go, and you can go like even on your own. Seriously, it's
I'm
really
just gonna
fun.
Be a grown person walk
like
around
a tourist.
Field Station. Yeah, no, literally. I would do it though. Honestly, I love stuff like that.
It's fun.
Meteorologist Mike Favetta is here with us one more time. Mike, you'll come with me, right?
Yeah,
of course.
You're totally geeky like me, which is why I love you.
The kids. We'll act like kids because what's more fun than dinosaurs? It feels like the Cretaceous or Jurassic period outside. So the weather is fitting, considering how hot and humid it is. You just don't have those giant, 6-foot bugs that used to live back in that time. Now our forecast brings back a lot of heat, a lot of haze, and a lot of humidity. That means poor air quality as well. So take it easy if you're an asthmatic or maybe those that suffer from air quality issues. Also, good idea to check on the elderly, the neighbors, make sure they're keeping cool, because with highs climbing into the upper 90s each day, likely hitting 100 in the big cities, and overnight lows staying in the low 80s, you'll hear those ACs buzzing right throughout each afternoon. Now, early in the morning on Monday, that's our next chance to see some storms statewide, and that will begin a slight cool down process that will end our heat wave, but still keep some relatively warm and humid weather on tap by Tuesday. So it's going to be warm, it's going to be humid. Get ready for some hotter weather, I think, by Sunday. We get a lull these next 2 days. Also keep an eye to the sky for some severe weather that comes in across southern New Jersey later on this afternoon. So got to keep it cool. Maybe pick a place, pick a location in the shade. Otherwise, stick it with it in the AC, because Cara, Kristina, gets hot over the next several days. Got to keep cool.
All right, Mike. I'm trying to think. What can we make?
Movies.
No, it's time for some gelato.
Oh,
granita. Love the granita.
Granita, yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
All the
Now
above.
we're talking. Thanks, Mike.
And Don Smith joining us for one final look at the morning commute. Good morning to you, Don.
Good morning, Kristina. Good morning, Cara. And good morning, Mike. Yeah, I've got my peach mango sorbet look on here. So good morning, everybody. Let's get you over to the cameras here. This has been an ongoing issue all morning long, and that's going to be Creek Road or County Route 635. It's always interesting how we speak about, to the north, it's the names of the roads. And I think like just south of like the Driscoll Bridge or whatever, they go to the numbers. But either way, this is at 295, the entrance to, or the exit ramp at exit 43. Let me just expand this here a little bit. This has been closed here for about 3-4 hours now. There was a tractor trailer fire, and that's long extinguished, but there's an extensive cleanup here. So we've got the one lane shut, and again, southbound 295, the exit 43 exit ramp also is going to be a problem, because that is shut down until further notice. All right, so let's go back to the maps. Everyone looking to beat the heat, right? Heading to the shore. Parkway looks great here through Wildwood, Cape May, Ocean City. Nothing happening in Atlantic County, even out towards Long Beach Island along 72. We're fine through Toms River is good. You may see some beach delays as you get out through Point Pleasant on the Brielle Bridge. 35 as well. In fact, as I say that, let me do this very quickly. I can show you the approach on 35 at Broadway, which is really going to be at the Brielle Bridge. It's right here. Coming across the bridge here this morning. So we're fine. So that's, again, wide open. So get out and enjoy and try to beat some of this heat. Monmouth County, 33, 18 is good. 295 is quiet. The Turnpike, 287 is fine. We do have some road work tying the ride up out in Western Jersey, east on 78 here between exits 7 through 11. That's midday road work until 3. Also 287 north, getting between exits about 35, 36. There is repair until about 3 o'clock, and then west on 24. Still dealing with road work here from Kennedy Parkway by the mall at Short Hills out through the Madison area. So look for that. And then the Parkway going north through Irvington and to East Orange from 142 to 145 is running about 15 minutes with a crash being cleared. I like the Turnpike a little bit better. And then west along 280, we still have issues here all the way from, I'm going to say about, Laurel Avenue and Livingston, all the way out through Parsippany and Route 80, but 80 is quiet. And then north along 208, again, we still have this midday construction really messing the ride up on your approach into Maple Avenue. Then east along Route 4, there's road work here in the Teaneck area out by Queen Anne Road. Then both ways of 17, pretty heavy out by Central Avenue. Now, your Hudson River crossings are running about 10 minutes. And transit, so far, so good. I'm going to be on or closer to schedule. Give yourself another 15, 20 minutes there, just in the chance some signal issues pop up with these hot temperatures. And speaking of the hot temperatures, again, if you can leave the dog at home, just do it. With these hot temperatures, don't leave anyone in the car. Always check the back seat, all that kind of stuff, with these hot temperatures. So, again, if you can maybe leave the dog at home. I know, Cara, Kristina, you both have dogs, and maybe it can be a little challenging to do that, but, they're not human. So, maybe just leave them at home and leave them in the cool air conditioning. Yeah. So,
man, we've all done that story with the cookies on the dashboard or an egg on the hood. Yeah, right. It's too hot. It's too hot for anyone to be in the car. Absolutely. Exactly. Don, thanks so much. We appreciate you.
Well, maybe you're on a quest to find air conditioning or go to the shore. Middlesex County is asking residents to go on a quest themselves.
The quest is to discover what's in their own backyard. Now, the county has launched their Discover Middlesex quest that runs now through October.
You have to sign up for the Facebook group, download the quest map, and complete 10 activities with your team, posting a picture of each activity in order to be entered for a chance to win a grand prize. That sounds like a lot of fun, just basically staying in your own backyard and trying to find some treasure.
I have to tell you, Middlesex County does a fabulous job with they do all these great little challenges that they put out to the residents that just encourage them to literally go. They do one with food in the fall as well too, where if you eat at X number of restaurants, and same thing, share it on social and tag them. You win different prizes, and it's the prizes they're
fun.
They're tchotchke though. It's whatever the county can swing.
Right.
It's just, I think that's such a great thing. Your young family, maybe vacation's not in the cards for you right now. What a great thing to do.
And
with
it gets
kids.
you involved with your community too, because you never know who you're going to meet while you're doing all of these activities.
Yeah,
so it's really
I think
fun.
It's super, super cute. I love that idea.
I love it. Yeah.
Hey, listen, this whole show has been quite the adventure.
And we've got another one coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. We're going to be talking about the best wines for your BYOB restaurants and why even humpback whales think the Jersey Shore is the place to be.
And of course, we'll have all the local news everyone needs to know. For now, we're going to leave you with scenes from the Wildwood Boardwalk. Someone waved to executive producer Lisa Marie. She's down there somewhere this week.
We miss her. She'll be back next week. Thank you all for watching. We will see you tomorrow.